You that you know that you don't want this from this person, don't sort of, how do I say it,
indulge
and tempt the other party. You know that I don't want to date this person, or I don't want to have a romantic relationship with him, but the person can just be sitting on his own. You go, you try to touch him, rub him, make suggestive remarks and all of that.
Sure.
The other person can see it as a green
light.
light, even though you've not said yes, let's do this, but the other person can see it as a green light. So you yourself, you need to be cautious.
Welcome to the Expat Explorer, the #1 best employment podcast in the world.
Yeah.
Of course, you know that on this platform, we discuss everything employment, from the fact to the myth and everything in between.
That's right.
My name is Mide.
And my name is Aisha.
Yeah, so today we would want to remind you to ensure that you subscribe, right, to our platform. We noticed that most of those that watch our series, that watch our episodes, have not subscribed. In fact, over 50% of you have not subscribed. I would like to encourage you to ensure that you subscribe to our platform, and like and comment, share your opinions. And one thing we promise you is that we're going to do a research on things that will be very beneficial to you, to help you navigate the workspace even better and help you thrive at your workspace. Yeah. Whether or not you're in the 9 to 5 setting.
Yes, so we cover everything from 9 to 5 to not 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
And 5 to 9.
And 5 to 9. Yes. Yeah, because of course we discuss everything global.
Yeah.
Everything employment in the global space.
Yeah. Mide, before you go ahead, are you not going to talk about the elephants in the room?
Definitely. I will do that.
Can't you see that we have a facelift?
I'll do that, definitely. Yeah, so we're going to be introducing a very special guest. This person is someone so dear to me, and she's coming online today to actually discuss a very sensitive topic, right? We'll allow her to introduce herself, and afterwards we're going to introduce the topic. So, ta-da! Ta-da for me. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you so much for having me.
Actually,
thank you so much for having me, and I'm so delighted to be here. My name is Esther, and I'm a social worker, and I currently work with the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency as a case manager, where we handle cases of domestic and sexual violence across the states. Thank you once again.
It's great to have you. I'm so excited.
Our pleasure to have you today. Thank you for joining, Esther.
You're welcome.
Right. Today we're going to be discussing a very sensitive topic, like we mentioned earlier, and it has to do with sexual harassment in the workspace and how employers are able to manage victims of domestic violence in their employment, right? Yeah. Esther here is an expert, a subject matter expert. We're going to be asking her some questions, and of course we hope that, while she responds, you're also able to, share your comments and give your reactions to some of the comments she'll be making today.
And also, if you have experiences that you'd like to share, and if you don't want to put in the comment, for example, you can always send to our email, so we can share our own advice and all. And also we'll be sharing our own advice as well, as much as Esther is a subject matter expert, but from the HR standpoint, we would share pointers, what you need to look out for, what employers need to do to support employees, and what employees need to do when they're experiencing things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the elephant in the room I was talking about is our facelift.
Oh,
this is not our usual studio. I mean, we have mics. We have upgraded. As you can see, we have made it.
Yes, we have made it.
As you can see, we have made it. We're now using podcast. So in fact, don't worry. You will hear from me.
Yeah, thank you to the sponsor of our studio.
We appreciate you, even though he's anonymous, but you know yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, we really
it's a great thing. It's not just us that did it, and it's our little community that we're trying to build that's also supported us, because it's what those people have seen that say, okay, these people are doing something and they are gaining support. So thank you guys for your support, and let's keep it up so that we can keep making it and we can keep upgrading and upgrading.
Yes.
So we can get right into the questions. I just wanted to say that because I'm so excited.
I'm so excited as well, right? You guys are the real MVPs, especially most of you that actually share your comments, share your reactions, tell us what we should talk about.
Yes.
I mean, recently we've had people reach out to us to say, we want you to talk about certain things, and trust me, we're going to do our research and talk about them, and even bring people that are subject matter experts, to discuss some of those things.
And Esther is our first guest. We're just winning on all rounds today.
Exactly. We're
our
winning.
First guest, our first studio.
Welcome, Esther.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So like we said, we're going to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
I think our first question is around sexual harassment and how people react to it. I know that there are societal biases about sexual harassment, and the bias is not towards those people that harass them, but those that are actually the victims. So we'd like you to share your thoughts, right, around domestic violence and sexual harassment. Why are they sensitive topics, and why are they things that people avoid to talk about in many workplaces today?
Thank you so much. So talking about domestic violence and sexual harassment, it's quite a topic that people avoid to, mention. It's always kept, secret or sort of like that. If you remember, even growing up, talking about sex education is quite hard.
I can tell.
You're right.
The funny that even talk about sex education. So
Aisha's mom was very comfortable talking about it.
She's a medical person. So she's always comfortable to talk about things like that.
And I love that for that, because my mom never talked about it.
So we see, but now we thank God that we have agencies now coming up, organizations coming up, NGOs emerging, speaking about these things, because more than we can talk about, these things actually happen and they are real. People experience it. When we talk about sexual harassment, they are mostly unwelcomed sexual advances made towards you, something that you don't welcome, it's uninvited, without your consent. It could be just someone making sexual jokes about you, making sexual comments, and trying to touch you without you consenting to it, showing you explicit consent and stuff like that. And more than we can say, it happens at workplace, and they could be very subtle, something that you can easily ignore. Very, very subtle. Your colleague can just say, oh wow, this skirt you are wearing,
exactly,
stuff like that. Sometimes you may even laugh over it and you laugh it over, no, but really they actually happen and they actually occur. And the bias seems from it that people don't want to talk about it because they are scared that even though I talk about it, who would believe me?
Yes,
I agree.
Some will even say, well, you're not the first person to happen to. We all experience it. They want to keep your job. So why do you report it and all? It's not a big deal.
Especially if it's coming from the boss.
Yes.
You say somebody make your clothes, everything, it's all brings out some curves and shapes and all of that. So why are you counting that as anything? It's nothing and all of that. So it happens, it's subtle, but it's time that we create the awareness that this really happened. And if it has happened to you, there are channels in which you can make reports, that you can be heard and supported, that we believe you that this happened and we can help you out of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
that.
That was really insightful. And I think it would also, be nice if you can help us understand, what the society, how the society actually reacts to those things.
How the society reacts to things as this, like I said earlier, enlightenment has, started, and even in places of worship, I think people have started talking about it as well. And that's like a broad place where most people also spend their time. People go to churches, people go to mosques, and they revere their religious leaders, and, they respect them and they believe whatever it is they say. So they're already coming to understand these things, but still we cannot argue with the fact that some people still count it as something not to be talked about. It shouldn't be something should be heard about. So we can always not ignore that society would, come against that and stuff like that. So whoever is experiencing this, people will always oppose it. That is just it. We cannot wipe out the entire universe and say everybody would support this. That's not possible. So there will always be some set of people or a part of the society that would not still agree with it. You just ensuring that whoever is that is happening to in the workplace, the workplace should create a safe and friendly environment where people are able to speak out. It is from one place that it can extend to the other. You work in this organization and it's cool. You've worked there for like 5 years. You move to another place. You can pass on that knowledge to that other organization. And as you keep moving, it keeps expanding and evolving. But we cannot wipe out that there are still some people that would not accept that and believe that, and they'll still be biased about it. That's all the fact.
I think I've actually even had an experience, as a HR person, where an employee reported a sexual harassment case, and it all started from tight hugs, because they had some form of relationship, and not relationship in the sense that they were in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. They were just platonic friends, right? And I know the school I finished from, Covenant University, one thing that, most of them actually do is having to, hug each other when they see each other, especially the girls. When you see your fellow friend, you just hug, you give like a long time, kind of hug. And I think it actually also plays out between the opposite genders, right? So it was a case that people could not easily distinct what must have transpired, because they were formerly friends, and given the fact that the girl even was very specific, she said the guy grappled her boobs and things like that, right? It was difficult to actually establish that there was a sexual harassment in such cases. So I would like you to probably tell us, examples of or situations where you've had to experience cases around workplace, where you've encountered a workplace case that shifted your thinking around sexual harassment.
All right, thank you.
Your approach to these issues, of course.
Yeah, so first thing first, it's important to always establish boundary.
Sure.
It is very, very important. Just as you've mentioned, because they are close friends, platonic friends, it's actually hard to believe that a sexual harassment can occur between the both of them, because usually when they see, they hug, they do all sorts of things and stuff like that. But it's very important to establish boundary and create a line that this other person must not cross. Yes, we are friends, we can give ourselves hug, but not too tight, not tight hugs. If I'm uncomfortable, some people even go as far as having, how do I put it, they have code words that they use to, if I tell you this, you already know that you're already passing your boundary and all of that.
Sure.
Just know. So establishing boundary is one important thing first. You need to establish a boundary, and you know that you don't want this from this person. Don't sort of, how do I say it?
Indulge
and tempt the other party. You know that I don't want to date this person, or I don't want to have a romantic relationship with him, but the person can just be sitting on his own. You go, you try to touch him, rub him, do make suggestive remarks and all of that.
Sure.
The other person can see it as a green light, even though you've not said yes, let's do this, but the other person can see it as a green light. So you yourself, you need to be cautious of that, and let us also establish that yes means yes, no means no.
True.
Even if the person is indecisive, that I don't know, it still means no. Unless the person says explicitly that yes, let us do this, then it can. I think I've experienced a scenario whereby these people, they are boss. The lady is a direct line manager that she reports to and all of that. The man offers her lifts home because they live in the same area, and sometimes after work they branch to restaurants to eat and gist. And in fact, the man is married, his family actually knows her, this lady, and the wife knows and everything, but this person is coming to report now that this man sexually assaulted her.
Wow.
So while they were on their way home, and it's quite dicey because everybody knows in quote that you go home with this
follows
person.
him.
In fact, people even go to other places before you go home, and stuff like that. It was quite dicey to actually believe and to actually pinpoint that, yes, because the man obviously, who is the alleged perpetrator, would not accept that I did
Of
this.
course not.
And the
They're
lady
always the
standing
innocent ones.
on the ground that this man actually did it. But in cases as this, it is important to put away sentiment and first listen to this person, empathize with her. Oh yeah, I believe what it is you are saying. I understand you that you said this happened and all of that. Then since it is an organization, they set up an internal investigation. We also did our own investigation by referring, and after back and forth, we actually discovered that this actually happened. It actually happened. Then we need to refer the lady for psychosocial support, for her to speak with a counselor, because she felt so traumatized, because she actually felt so free with this person and all of that, but the man took her gestures and everything as a go ahead that you can do whatever it is you want to do and all of that. So it is important to set that boundary to prevent issues as this occurring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's so sad. Like it's very easy for people to overstep or just
Boundaries,
think that okay, because this person is, you can just be nice. People often mistake niceness for like likeness, or like she wants this or he wants this. So it's very important that boundaries are clear and they are set, especially in the workplace, for example. Like
Very
you need to set that
important.
boundaries. If you don't want people touching on you or hugging you, you need to set that boundaries that, oh no, I really don't appreciate this, don't do this. And yeah, I agree with you. And also, like, when people talk about like, oh, sexual harassment and things like this, people always have the mindset of like, oh, women do this, women is women. Have you ever had an experience where a man or a guy reported like a sexual harassment, and what was that like, and what was their own, how were they comfortable to say that? Have you had experience of like a guy actually reporting like a sexual harassment?
Yes, of course. Many often than not, men also experience this.
Yeah, I agree.
But because of the stereotype around the male gender that you are a man it up. Why are you reporting this? Be
Men
a
are
man.
suffering.
Are you not a man?
Honestly.
Men suffer in silence, but thank God for enlightenment now. Men report, and sometimes when a man wants to open up, they don't want to talk to the female gender.
Honestly.
I don't know.
True.
But they actually open up and they talk about this, and it's pretty much the same process. We attend to a man, we also attend to a woman. It's pretty much the same process because men experience that, even especially from the same sex. We really don't want to delve into that aspect, especially even from the same sex. They experience that because it's kind of a tough world for a man. Getting a job, a lady can easily get a job and can even call your auntie, that your uncle, that please, I need money, I'm broke, and your auntie will respond to you. But as a man, you cannot just call your uncle
not
that
a man.
you cannot just call your uncle that I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that. It's kind of a tough word for men, and I'm glad that men are actually opening up. And yes, to anyone that is going through this, that this world has gone civilized past the age that a man cannot report sexual harassment or sexual assault. Men even get beaten by their partners or stuff like that too.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same process, and there should be no bias to handle such. It's the same process. They need counseling sessions and to speak with therapists, most especially because for a man to actually speak up, that means it has gotten to a high level that they can't bottle it anymore. They can't take it anymore. For them to actually speak out, a lady can, any small thing, is quick to talk and say, I'm not comfortable with this. But a man would want to endure and endure and endure, and they just burst all of a sudden. And if you look at the rate of people that are depressed, committing suicide, it's higher for the men because they don't want to open up and stuff like that. But there's actually help,
Sad.
available for them, and it's pretty much the same process for the women and also for the men.
Yeah. That's so sad. I mean, like those like little moments, like, oh, I'm just thinking about like, oh, going back in the workplace and all, like, oh, just when like women are interacting with men, like, oh, all those maybe touches that they might not be comfortable with, but they would not just talk about it. They would just be like, nothing, it's not a big deal. But me as a lady, if a guy should come and just maybe mistakenly touch me on my lap, I'm like, okay, what's that? No, don't do that. I don't like it. But for a man, it's very easy for them to, it might be very easy for them to dismiss it and feel like it's not a big deal. And I feel like it's true that it's very important that men speak up as well. Then piggyback off of that, like talking about the sexual harassment. Now we've been talking about, oh, like maybe physical sexual, like, oh, somebody touches you in a certain way that you don't like. In the world of today, remote work is very popular. So is there like sexual harassment in like remote setting, like people that are not in the same space, they work virtually, but have you had experience of like maybe a remote setting, kind of like, oh, somebody is being harassed even though they are not in the same space?
Of course, you can be sexually harassed not being in the same space with such a person. The person can, make suggestive remarks, telling you, like, there's just a funny experience that person can just chat with you and say, oh, or like saying something as dirty as, I can imagine you beside me, I can imagine you being on me, and how this will be. And the good thing, well, not so good thing, is that at least you can preserve evidence of that. That it's mostly via chats. You can
there are
preserve.
some people that have one chat that expire on
Snapchat. Or after 24 hours.
And you're right, because it also reminds me of this very popular director or producer in America, right? That was recently accused of harassing one of his casts. Right, the guy actually had chats of suggestive statement, and this was intergender.
Oh yeah,
more like an intragender kind of situation,
not
right?
naming names.
They were trying to be very careful.
It's
but
true.
Things like that surely happens, and even all these emojis,
like exactly all those stickers, all those stickers, that exactly stickers that.
Cucumber.
For me, for example, there are certain stickers that you send to me that I'll be very uncomfortable, like as a
female
co-worker.
Yeah,
like maybe a sticker of like maybe somebody naked moving in a certain way. I'm like, I mean, maybe you might not be some. See me, I'm explaining it away now. This is the exact thing. I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm trying to explain it away. I'm just not comfortable with it. I just find it very.
And when you mention it, they dismiss it that I don't mean anything.
That producer that you were talking about, I remember, I think I read all those chats. Like the person, you could feel like
the person was dismissive,
but it was still like not trying to be rude, because obviously this person is the person I work with. This person is my boss. You could feel like this person was not really feeling it, but it was just very vulgar with like, it felt like they were too, like, it was just very embarrassing to say the least.
Especially with the fact that I actually love that guy. I watch his movies a lot.
Same.
Yeah, so it actually happens in remote settings that we cannot, and like we've said, the evidence is there to actually prove that such happens, and you can use it against the person. So whoever that is, it's quite dicey, because if this person is who you are working with, some will have considered that I've not gotten any other job. How will I report this? And will I still be able to maintain my job? Will I still be able to retain my job and all of that? But also, the beautiful thing about remote job is it may not actually be this one job you are doing. You can have diverse multiple things. So if that person makes you feel uncomfortable and you've called the person to order, maybe you can speak with someone else, maybe a more superior authority, maybe the HR or something. And if still such action is not being taken, then there are also other agencies that you can report to for actions like that to be taken, and
Sure.
at the
Yeah.
end it may lead that you have to resign, at least for your own mental well-being and psychological
Yeah.
well-being. That cannot be overemphasized, that your being in your right state of mind is actually important for you to be productive at work. So if your mental and psychological well-being is being toyed with and is being a
Challenged.
challenge, then I don't think there's a point for you to continue there. You won't be productive. That's just it.
I agree with you. Yeah, and I like the fact that we're able to delve into remote works, right? I'm just curious to know how sexual harassment and domestic violence can present itself in the workspace.
Okay. Well, domestic violence abuse does not end at home, because
Sure.
if I'm abused at home, I will still have to come to work. I'm still going to be bringing my emotional trauma, my some even come in with injuries, bruises that they try to mask up. You ask, and the person just smiles. Oh, I hit
hit
my
my head.
face. Oh, I fell off the staircase, and
Robbers attacked
Yeah.
me.
yeah, even some are even fearful to answer calls if the phone ring. Like the way they jump up and they are anxious, you can see the anxiety. Some, they prefer to be isolated. They just want to do things on their own. They want to, they are fearful. They're even scared that the abuser may come to their workplace to harass them.
Honestly, my mind was just going around that
Yeah.
thoughts, because I was like, what happens? How do you manage such a thing as an employer, and even the employee that is a survivor, of such situations?
Yeah, some abusers who can come to your workplace to try to intimidate you, to harass you, and all of that. So that's why, firstly, it's important that every organization creates a safe workspace, like a workspace that is open and respectful, friendly, that anyone experiencing this can easily come up and speak maybe to the HR that this is what I'm going through at home, and I
not be
fear that my
judged.
abuser can come to work, and you may already know this person as my spouse, so it's the security may allow him to enter. So if you have that good relationship, or the work environment is friendly, first they can reinforce security at work, that this person shouldn't even be allowed in. That is first, like, improve the security, so at least the person feels safe at work. The person feels safe at work. Then we have something we call like the employee assistance programs. It's like a workspace program that help employees, like, especially when they are going through stuff like that, they can link them up with counseling services. Now some organizations, they have psychologists, they have therapists in the organization.
Sure.
They have therapists in the organization, professionals that such a person can just knock on their door, walk in, speak with them, and at least get some sort of help. Also, it is also the responsibility of an organization as well to link such survivor, such employee, to available resources that we have, that, oh, I know this agency, that they can be of help. They can even reach out to the agency on behalf of these employees. We call them mandated reporters, that I have an employee going through this. And these agencies can provide temporary shelter if need be, that the person cannot go back. And also the organization can provide like flexible work arrangements for such employees, so that the person can have, enough time for his or herself to, even some of them just want a separate environment from that place, just to
Clear their head.
calm themselves, think through. Some don't even want you to take any action. You can list out all the actions you can take for them. They will just tell you, I'm not ready yet, I just need to calm myself down, think it through, then I will let you know what next step of action I want to take. So that safe space environment is actually important for every organization to provide for their employees. I think that helps a lot.
I agree. Yeah. So thank you very much, Esther, right, for giving us this insight. And of course, employers should, rise up to the occasion and be very intentional about the people they are working with.
Yeah.
Be observant generally.
Observant.
Right. But it would also be good if you can share, some of the behavioral signs, right, that shows that a person is probably going through sexual harassment or domestic violence in the workspace.
Yeah, thank you. Some signs that one can see to show that this person is actually going through sort of abuse could be absenteeism, lateness to work,
True.
tardiness, someone that is always up to the task here and there, but the person is slacking already,
Suddenly.
absent-mindedness, not being focused, their work level has dropped, their work level output have dropped, they are easily distracted, and
True.
and some as far as coming in with injuries that cannot be explained. Someone that is fine by the next day, bruises, broken leg, and stuff like that. And anyone that takes, some extreme occasion, maybe regular leave off work, that today you want to take 3 days off, before you take like regular leave without any cogent reason or excuse, that such a person should be probed. And you don't go in sort of a defensive mood if you want to probe such a person. You come in as you care, that, oh, I noticed this. And I can say 90% of persons, if you approach them the first time, they will not tell you this is what I'm going through.
I agree.
They will not tell you, because they can't just come to me and say, I observed this with you. Are you experiencing something wrong? I won't just say yes, it's not possible. But if you notice such signs with such person, you can give the person time to open up, and just let the person know that anytime you are ready, let the person know that there are resources available for you to access. The office is open for you to walk in and make your complaints and all of that. So those are the signs that one can see in such a person.
Yeah, I have a question, like around, not completely around it, but do you have you ever been in a situation where you needed to not call out, but to hold workplaces accountable for, like, maybe an employee came to me to you that, oh, this is what I'm experiencing at work and nothing is being done about it? Do you have that? Is there something like that you are able to keep workplaces accountable, maybe like, or maybe suing or something like that?
Yeah, workplaces need to be held accountable, and everyone who runs an organization, even much more than we may not know, they want the progress, and they always work in the best interest of their organization, sometimes even more than the employees. They don't want anything to stain their name, especially if it's something that they have a brand, like a well-known brand. They don't want anything to stain their name. There have been situations whereby in the medical setting, where nurses have a report as regards the doctor, being sexually abusive towards them and all of that. And in that scenario, such a doctor as that is quite, how do I put it, very efficient, and is not someone the hospital in its entirety is willing to lose or let go, because of how good and how efficient such a person is, and trying to silence the person, that's the survivor that have come to report a case. So that's why we have laws. Law is not a respecter of anybody. True. That is justice. And one thing in Lagos is they have strong laws backing up domestic and sexual violence cases. They have strong laws backing up the domestic and sexual violence cases. So if such a person is ready and to go through the process, you can sue the workplace if you have enough evidence to back it up, because we all know that the court of law, they deal with evidence. They do with facts, witnesses, and all of that. So, of course, you can sue your workplace if you have evidences to prove that this actually happened. And such a scenario, we can say that it is still this organization that come back again behind to say, okay, we accept what we have done. Can we settle this out of court?
I agree.
Out of court, because they know that if they know that you're right and you stand by it, they'll fear.
They'll do the right
thing. They will do the right thing. They want to start doing damage control and all of that. If they know you're right and you stand on it. So that's just it.
Okay, I like that.
That's
I like
nice.
that. I remember that there was once a case that also trended online, right, with respect to a very popular commercial bank, right, that had a senior person who they went for a team bonding event, and then the staff, probably she was drugged, and the person said he was going to drop her at home. Meanwhile, he took her to a hotel. I know that currently that person is currently facing prison charges or something, or maybe they've jailed him, something like that. I think that also shows that the society is taking these things very seriously.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think we have focused so much on the structured organization, more like the white collar, settings, right? I think it would be good for you to also speak to the situations happening in the I would say unstructured setting, informal setting. For instance, an oga has a house help or house help, right?
Yeah,
those ones are very common. Even in our home videos, we used to see all those kind of scenarios play out. Or you are working in someone's store as a nail technician, and the oga's husband is actually trying to harass you and things like that. How do you guys manage all those, or what do you have to say? What's your reaction to things like that? And what experiences have you had?
Yeah, as regards that, is also very common in informal settings, especially those ones that probably they brought them in from the village, so to say, and under the guise that, oh, you are going to get a good job, or we are going to send you to school, and such a person is being subjected to what he or she can even say out or talk to domestic help, and even in the informal workplace setting, hairdressing, tailoring, and all those things, all those ones that maybe you come in late and they subject you to hours of punishment, and all those ones too is part of it. Yeah, it also happens, and it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same process. It's just that this one, you don't have the, should I say, the structured authority that you can walk up to, like the HR, that this and this is what is happening. And such people, the abusers, what they try to do first is try to isolate you, that you don't have anyone you can actually talk to, or they put in your mind that if you speak out, nobody will believe you. Like they put it in your mind that you become so fearful that you are isolated, especially those that live in these estates, so to say, that you don't even know your neighbor. You don't talk to any other person. When you are going out, you go out with your boss.
True.
You are coming back with your boss. It's not like you go out on your own and stuff like that. So it's quite sad for such scenarios. And we've seen scenarios where such people, sometimes they run away and they just go to the police station. Some run away, they go to any NGO they see around, or fortunately, some have people they can trust, because we've had situations whereby the person that brought the case to our attention is a woman that sells stuff, that has a provision store close to the area of such a person. So the lady is quite close already with the store owner. So she opened up to the store owner, and it was the store owner that publicized the case, reached out, and the lady got up through that process. So everybody's a mandated reporter. Like you say, you say something, you say something.
Yes.
You don't say it is none of my business, because what goes around all comes around. And
You're right.
if you say it is none of my business, it may not want to be directly involved in it, but you can let the person know that, oh, probably there's a number you can call, or there's this address you can go to, or you can do this or this, and you can get help. As simple as that, such a person can receive help. You understand? Yeah.
Okay. I think if we continue like at this rate, because we're enjoying this conversation, we'll not leave here today.
Honestly.
So I think my own last question I have is, I know like unfortunately it happens, false accusation. Like there are times that people say something happened but it did not. How do you manage that in situations where somebody reported but it was found out that it was false? Like how do you manage that? How do you distinguish between a right accusation and a false accusation? Have you had experience with something like that?
Yeah, such situation is quite dicey, especially when it's a case where you don't have concrete evidence, like a case of sexual harassment, that you can't hold on to something that this is the evidence that this person did it. And so people can falsify information just to get back at someone, probably someone they don't like, and
True.
everything. So that is why doing thorough investigation is very important. When you report a case, it's not like when you report a case today, tomorrow you get your justice, or tomorrow will sentence the person you have alleged. No, it takes a long process, and that process is takes thorough investigation and all of that. We've seen cases whereby it is when the reporter, that's the survivor, who reports, because it's important that such goes through psychosocial support, that's counseling. It is while talking to the psychologist that the survivor herself will even confess that, oh, this person, I actually lied against this person because what the person, I don't like this person or something. You understand? Yeah, so it is important that whoever is taking action takes their time, and counseling service is important. So once that person is going through that counseling service, some of them is because maybe childhood trauma or something they've experienced in the past, they don't want it to reoccur. That is what made them falsify such information. Through that process, they can get better and open up and say that it is false and all of that. But it's quite a sad thing, and it's not a pleasant thing.
Is there any criminal implication? Is it criminalized in the Nigerian law?
Well, I'm not so sure about that it is criminalized or there is a penalty for that, but it's really something that we need to look.
It should be
criminalized.
criminalized because
there should be a penalty for that,
because it's spoiling for actual survivors. Because if people are going about like making false accusations, it will be difficult for people to believe the people that actually have that experience.
The real
I think
survivors.
someone actually had that experience in the UK, like a renowned doctor, right? He tweets a lot, and then he actually talked about how a girl actually accused him of sexually harassing her, and then they later found out that it was false. It was a false allegation. And I think they arrested the lady or something like that.
Such a person would be arrested, but with time
to just die off.
It will just die off.
That's sad.
As well.
That's sad.
Yeah, I think because we want to also be very conscious of, our time. So what are the myths around sexual harassment and domestic violence that actually drives you crazy?
Yeah, the myth that such only happens to the female gender. That is one. The myth that it is your fault, you provoked the person, or you dress provocatively and all of that is false and that is wrong. Then also the myth that if you report, then you've sort of brought down yourself and you are being body shamed, and so this person has been raped, so this person has been harassed. That's a myth. Stigmatization.
True.
That is a myth that no one should actually believe, and the myth that if you report, nobody's going to help you. That is a lie. Help is always available.
True.
It's just to know the right place or the right people to go to. I also want to add something that reporting cases, especially such that does not require that you don't have a concrete evidence to hold, a hard proof, that every organization should create a safe space that one can talk, and empathy is very important. Putting yourself in that person's shoe, that empathize with the person, at least listen to that person first. Even if there is no concrete evidence, empathize with the person, listen, and assure the person that investigation or action is going to be taken. Link the person up with psychosocial support services, then internally conduct a confidential investigation. Look out for this person they are reporting. Has there been a pattern of such before? Has there been a prior report about this person before? Are there possible witness accounts? Can anyone testify and all of that? So once you do that, but note, it has to be done in confidentiality so that the persons that have reported interest will still be protected and the person will not be exposed and stigmatized.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's a nice one. I think we should round up with our own final thoughts now, Media. What do you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed today's session.
Same.
And I really want to appreciate you if you actually stayed back to watch it till this point. I think you're the real MVP. I want to say a very big thank you, right? Sexual harassment is not something that we should joke about. It's not something that we should. I like the fact that, some organizations have specific leave that addresses issues like this. Emergency leave, they have harassment leave, they have psychological leave, leave policies that actually help people to recalibrate during situations like this. And I also like the fact that there are specific policies that speaks to domestic violence victims or survivors, as our guest would say, right? So please make sure you reach out to us, share your comments, share your hit the subscribe button. We can't emphasize that enough, right?
Yeah.
If you've not done that, you're wrong.
You're very wrong.
You're sitting on the wrong side. So please hit the subscribe button. Feel free to send your questions and they will respond to it. Aisha, do you have any final thoughts?
I think you encompassed, you said everything I wanted to say. Just to add, employers need to be very conscious of things like this because it actually happens. You're going to be lying to yourself regardless of whatever situation that you're in. We've talked about in corporate settings, in blue collar settings, in settings that have even home based, and we've also spoken about working in the physical working and also remote working. So companies need to be conscious of it and need to create an atmosphere or a culture where people are comfortable and are confident to express themselves. So, and if you, like Media said, please subscribe. You don't need to pay to subscribe. It's free. Just subscribe. You've already watched it up to this point. Just click it,
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Esther.
So we would like you to, so two things, right? We'd like you to give a question for our next guests, right? And just any random question to our next guest. I would also like you to, because this question is actually burning in my mind, and I would like you to just maybe say something about it briefly before we do our outro, of course. We want you to be able to talk about situations where someone wants to report a case, right? And of course, sexual harassment means you will still have to show evidence. So you can never do that anonymously. How do you think someone can actually manage a situation like that? And then you give us your question for the next guest.
All right, to report a case of whatever case, whether it's sexual or domestic violence, there are numbers that you can call. We have the Lagos helpline that you can reach out to report. We have WhatsApp lines that are opened as well that you can reach out to make your reports via the line. Drop the number.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So no worries. As we had earlier mentioned, we're going to definitely share all the contacts once you reach out to us. Okay. So before you go, would like you to drop a question for our next guests that will be coming to our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching us till this very point. Myself and Aisha was so proud of you.
We're proud of you.
So, from one explorer to another, be bold,
be global, and be you.